Okay. So today we're going to talk about the report building in MassMailer. Some of you may have done this already within MassMailer, but it's always good to kind of have a refresher. So at a high level, we're going to take a look at the report that we already packaged within MassMailer and how to customize MassMailer reports, meaning like the existing reports if you want to customize them. And if you want to build a brand new report or a report type, how do you do that? And then how to look at the email statistics and some of the new features that we're adding. So we'll take a look at all of them. All right, so without wasting much time, let's go take a look at MassMailer real quick. If you're familiar with the MassMailer app and the reports that we package out of the box, so you go to the reports folder, which is a standard folder, or the standard tab in Salesforce. And then if you click on all folders, you would find MassMailer reports as one of the folders. If you have too many folders there, you can always search by typing in MassMailer. It's going to bring up the MassMailer reports folder. So once you click on that, you would find some of the packaged reports here. I'll go through one at a time, and if you have any questions, please type in the chat window, and I would answer all of those questions after the webinar. So let's take a look at this MassMailer outreaches reports. If you're familiar with what an outreach is nothing but any campaign that you like any mass email that you executed, that's called outreach. So when you click on that, by default, we display all the outreaches that you've executed. And then if it is related to a Salesforce campaign, we list that out. And also we give you the subject details, and if there's an A/B testing subject, and then we list out all the statistics such as request delivered, opens, unique opens, clicks, and all of that, right? So this is more like a summary report that you can think of on the outreach object itself. What are various functions that you could do here? You could edit it, of course. You can export it. You can add it to your dashboard. We still haven't packaged the dashboard, because we're waiting on the feedback from various customers to see what all final reports that we need to have, and then eventually we're gonna build a MassMailer dashboard as well. That way you can just put it in your home screen or somewhere, the MassMailer dashboard. That way you don't need to really build a dashboard on your own. So it would be packaged along with the MassMailer components. Okay? So you can export, add to dashboard. You can subscribe to this if you want to. And then if you want to modify anything, you can always edit this by clicking on this edit button. It's quite easy. Again, this course is not a refresher to a complete report building in Salesforce, but the edit functionality, you just have to click on that edit and then come to the filters. So if you want to show all MassMailer outreaches, you can actually just say that all MassMailer outreaches, and then apply. And if you wanted a specific outreach campaign, you can always select the specific one just by going to the outreach, and then pick up any of the outreach campaign that you want to report on, and then you can filter for that particular outreach. So for example, this one, let's take a look at it and let's see. Sometimes there may be an issue with the characters, so you got to play around. So let's say MassMailer outreach name, and then let's say if you say contain, right? And that's how you kind of apply the filters. So you basically enter any filter name that you needed. For an example, if you wanted email subject, if not this one, if you actually wanted an email subject, you can always go to the specific campaign, or if you know the email subject, you can always select that, and you come back here and then just enter the email subject, and you could just say equals and apply, and that'll bring up the specific the campaign with that email subject. And then when it comes to outline, this is actually gives you what all columns you are taking a look, like what all columns you want to display in this particular report. You can always change any of them just by adding, if you wanted to add any other details, such as there is another field called object, and then just say run. What you've done is you basically listing out the outreach campaigns that have got the same email subject, and then you are basically listing all of the columns that are already selected right there. Okay? And you can see that there are more number of campaigns that are having the same email subject. If you ever wanted to group them by a specific field, all you need to do is just come here, down arrow, and then group rows by this field, which means you're actually grouping them by a specific outreach, but they all have the same email subject. So the logic is that you can apply any sort of a filter that you wanted, and then you can group them by a specific the column. That is how you can actually group them, and then you can list out the summary, right? And you can play with this other option. Do you really want to display the row count, or you just wanted the subtotals or the grand totals? Or do you really want the detailed rows, or you want to turn off the detailed rows? And then if you don't want the row count, you can turn them off, and you can just look at the subtotal and the grand total, so you can see this the totals that are coming up on every end of the report. You can see that, right? So these things, there are advanced report building courses in Salesforce. You can always just go take a look at any of the report building features, and then play with the reports that you're actually looking at. And if you ever wanted to add a chart to it, you can always add a chart just by clicking on that, and then they'll bring the actual the form of the chart, the representation of this particular report into a chart view. So those are the standard features of Salesforce. Of course, you can play with. As I said, there are a lot of videos that are available on YouTube too. Okay? So let's take a look at the second report. So let's go to the folder. Okay? So we looked at the outreach report, which gives you the summary. And similarly, if you ever needed the email status, all the values that you have, like such as opens and clicks and everything, so that is stored under this all MassMailer email status report. This is going to bring in everything, meaning it could be thousands. So it's always better to apply the filters. That way you're not really listing out every single event. Or if you want to apply any groups, that's also possible to do it. So I'm straight away going to the filters because it may take a lot of time to really. Here we have all email status events in our time. So for example, if you wanted to filter them by, say, specific event, right? I'm just saying open and click for a moment, so that we bring in only the opens and the clicks. You can always add more if you want. And then we already have these ones, all the email status values that we are. So let's just go run. Hopefully, there's not going to have too many. So now you can see that we basically listed out all the email status values that I've got, the open event and the click event, and they're related to a specific outreach or maybe a specific campaign, right? And if you actually want to, group them by, say, for an example, if you wanted to group them by specific outreach, you can group it by the outreach. And then you can further divide them, so you can actually turn off this column. Maybe it may or may not be useful. So for specific outreach, you're basically grouping them. And if you also wanted to group them by the event, again, you can group these rows by this particular column. Right? And that's going to give you the specific event. For this particular outreach, how many opens are there, and it keeps going, right? You can see that for this one we have 141 opens, total opens. So this is not unique opens as such. This is total number of opens, and then let's start that way. Okay. That is the MassMailer email status report. Again, that actually lists out all the MassMailer email status events in your. Okay. Let's take a look at the other one. That is, so this is actually kind of same thing, but we are listing out for the outreaches. So you can see the kind of a difference. So this is just a summary report, and this is the all email status values, and this is a MassMailer email status with outreach. So it's kind of a connection between these two objects, the outreach object and the MassMailer email status. And again, I'm going to go edit this because there may be too many records there. Okay, so you can see that it's actually listing all the email status values, and it's kind of having a relationship with the outreach. So that's kind of a difference there. So it's okay. So this is giving the first quarter. Okay, it's not bad. So you can see that we have the fields that are coming in from the outreach. The reason why you build a report like this is if you ever needed the fields from the email status record and also outreach, this is how that you can actually build them, because you're kind of relating these two objects together and then bringing in the fields. So that's the advantage of having this particular report. So if you type in, you can actually get all the fields from email status as well as the outreach. So if you ever needed to build a report that is going to have both the fields from these two objects, you can actually come and then pick up this MassMailer email status with outreach. Again, you can add a group if you ever needed to add it, like a group them by a specific field, such as outreach name. You can do it from here as well. It's one and the same, whether you do it from here or when you execute it, the report, you can do it there as well. So, for an example, here, if you want to apply another filter and you want to say equals maybe, not sure if we have any open, let's say open, and then just apply, and then you can run it. So basically, you're grouping them by the outreach, the name, and also you're trying to get all the opens, but this is actually trying to filter in a specific quarter. So we may not have the results. So if you want to kind of again apply the filters, you can say, hey, I actually want it all time, right? And then apply that. So the reason I'm showing this to you is that sometimes if you ever needed fields from both the objects, this is the right report that you want to leverage or use the MassMailer email status with outreach. So this is kind of giving us a way to way to explain the report types. I will kind of show you how to do that. So just remember that whenever you need fields from two objects, You can use an existing report that we already have, or you can build something on your own. That's called report type. So if you wanted me to actually just explain what a report type is, maybe it is advantageous to just go there. So let me go to the report types. The way you go to the report types is you click on the setup, right? And then you go to Salesforce setup. That's a standard UI. And then you go to the quick find and type in report and then find the report types. I'm going to select a custom object that we support in MassMailer. But if you needed to build a report between contacts and MassMailer email status, you should be able to do it. Let me check if we actually support any. So let's go to the all folders, MassMailer reports. Okay, so we actually don't have one. So let's just go create one here. So what I'm doing is here. So you just say continue. And if you actually wanted to build a new custom report type, you come to the screen and then say new custom report type. And then here, what I'm doing is I'm actually going to go select contacts because I want to report on contacts. And I would say email status for contacts, right? And then that's my name for the report type, not for the report type. Just assume that this is more like a base or a meta definition for your report. So you're trying to say, hey, I want to report on contacts, and then store this in category called other reports for a moment. And then you go to the next step. And here you can see that this is my one set, that is A, that is the primary object is contact. And then you're trying to relate this with another object that is called B, and I want the subset in between. Yeah. So if I want to bring in the related objects, and then I want the subset are basically the conjunction between these two sets, the gray area, and that's what I'm looking at. So all the contacts that I got email status, right? Each A record must have at least one related B record, right? That's how you create a report type. And then say save, and my report type is ready, right? So this is called email status for contacts. Now what do? You go to the report. So let's say you go to your reports tab, and then you want to build a brand new report. You click on this new report, and then you're actually searching in for the report type. You see this? So it's asking you, hey, can you search for report type? So basically what you see here is the report type that comes along with Salesforce. And so now I'm going to go select the report type that we just created, email status for contacts, and then continue. And that's going to bring up the respective values. And by default, it has some the filters in it, and you can just go change them and apply. So this is actually bringing in email status for contacts. We are applying it for all contacts, and then you can also apply a filter if you want event again. If you want to bring in open click, for an example, let's just say apply, right? And then outline again here, you could bring in the fields from both the objects. Again, if you look at it, so you can see the contacts and all the fields from the contact. And then if you scroll down, you can see the MassMailer email status fields. And so, which means you're basically able to select fields from both the objects, that is contact, as well as the email status, right? So let's say event time, right? And you can keep going. If you want to bring in account, you can bring that. so on and so forth. You can add as many fields as possible, and then we got the filters applied, and then you run it. So that's how you build a report from a custom report type that you just created. So that's a kind of an advanced feature that you can kind of play with. So whenever you need a report that is completely custom, you just need to identify, hey, what objects are related to each other. I mean, by now, I think you know that MassMailer email events, there's nothing but the status, is related to any object that you're sending out emails to, whether it is contacts, leads, cases, or opportunities, or any other custom object even that you support in MassMailer. You can bring in those results by just creating a report type and create a report of that report type. So you can see that we got all of them. And if you ever wanted to kind of group them, let's say you want to remove this, go ahead and remove. And then if you ever needed to group them again, all you need to do is just apply the group by that particular column, and then you're grouping it for that particular contact. So that's how you basically create a report type and then create a report out of it. If you noticed, there was one report type that I created that is called courses, MassMailer email status for course. So course is a custom object that is supported in this particular instance. I mean, if you have any other custom object, whether it is called insurance policy or clinical trial, whatever custom object that you may have, and if you're supporting that object in MassMailer, you can always build a report type because we wouldn't know what custom objects that you have. So you will have to build that report type of your own and then build a report from that. So you can see that this courses is nothing but it is kind of same thing that we did for contacts. So courses with at least one related record from MassMailer email status. So that's how I do that. Now going back to the reports, all folders. Okay, so we looked at the MassMailer email status with outreach, and then we have let's take a look at the email status with campaign, which is same as the outreach. If you actually use the campaign object, it's almost the same. There's no difference as such because every Salesforce campaign that you're executing within MassMailer, you can actually create your own report on that specific campaign. And again, what is the advantage and disadvantage? Campaign may or may not have all the fields that you're looking for to report on, such as the subject. I think you can get it from email status, but if you needed any fields from campaign, and if you are using Salesforce campaign, then this is the right report that you want to use. Again, you can apply any filters, and then you can again go to outline, and then you can bring in any fields from here. Again, if you notice this, we have fields from the email status, as you can see, and then we have fields from the campaign. So that's a kind of an advantage if you're using Salesforce campaign. If you needed to report on the campaign, then this is the right report that you're going to use. And again, all you need to do is just click run, and then it's going to bring up the results. So there's not much difference there, except the fact that based on what your usage is, the requirement is, you will have to pick and choose which report that you're actually going to run. We do store all the status, the statistics values even on the campaign as well. That could be a completely different report. I don't know if we packaged anything. In the upcoming release, we're going to add a few more reports that you will be seeing. One of them could be a campaign. Okay. So again, going back to all folders. Okay, so we looked at the email status with campaign. So what I was referring to is, so we have a report on MassMailer outreach. Similarly, if you wanted to build a report on the campaign that displays the statistics, that'll be possible in the next release because we are packaging a few more reports here. Okay? And then now, if you look at the next one, so this is I'm going to come to the suppression list later. So this is again a report that is bringing in the fields from outreach and campaign. Again, if you're familiar with the Salesforce campaign feature in MassMailer, all it is doing is you're trying to tie up these two records, the outreach record and campaign. Again, the advantage is that if you wanted to bring in the fields from both the objects because these two are related, this is the right report that you want to use. Again, this is just listing out all the statistics and the summary information right here. And again, if you want to bring in both the fields from the outreach and campaign, all you need to do is click on edit, and then you will see the fields from both the objects in this particular section. So the outreach fields are there, and also you will find the fields from the campaign. So that's a kind of an advantage if you use this report. And then finally, we have one more report. The suppression list report. Again, if you're familiar with the advanced feature that we have in MassMailer, the suppression list, this actually lists out all the unsubscribes and bounces and spam reports. I may not have too much data here. So let's take a look at what do we have. The filters are all time, all suppression. So I have all the bounces. So if you had unsubscribes, then it would also list out the suppression type, and I list out the actual unsubscribe and group unsubscribe. So here, if you want to again take a look at what all fields that we support, so you see the contact and all the regular standard objects like lead and all of that. They are listed out here. And if you ever needed to build a report between a specific object, like for example, contact to suppression list, because these two are interrelated, again, you would do the exact same thing of creating a report type for contacts, and then you can relate that to suppression list, and then that becomes a report type, right? And again, this is just listing out the suppression list records. The advantage to have this report is, you can subscribe to this report and then schedule subscribe to this so you can know who all unsubscribed from your emails or anything that is bouncing. You can take an action and take a look at why it is bouncing. And so just to make you understand that the bounce that you see is actually hard bounce. We don't put the soft bounces in the suppression list. So that's a kind of difference in MassMailer email status. You may see the soft bounce and hard bounce, but in the suppression list, you will see only the hard bounces. Unsubscribes, group unsubscribes, and spam report. So there are only 4 different types of events that we store in the suppression list. It's very important that you know. Okay. So you can see that it's related to a contact object here. And then again, if you're familiar with the suppression list, it is just a related object on the contact. So this is a contact record, and this is the suppression list that we have. Since these two are related, so you can always create a report type on contact and relate that to the suppression list the way you've done it for email status. You can do the exact same thing. Okay. So I think we covered the reports, the regular reports that we ship out of the box. We looked at how to edit. We looked at how to create reports and the report types. One another thing that I want to actually, 2 more things that I want to kind of discuss here is I'm going to kind of club these two into one single demo here. So if I go to the outreach, this is actually a new version that we are building, a rather new release that we are coming up with. So if you click on this outreach, you may already know that we have the statistics information right here, the outreach statistics, and the performance, the percentage information, and also the real-time statistics. So now we are making sure the real-time stats and the fields and the outreach are all same in the upcoming release, so that you won't see any difference. So now the new features that we are gonna release here, there is a print option. So if you click on this print, you can actually take a look at the overall the statistics and the chart as well. So this is just going to list out the summary though. So there's no email option. Unfortunately, it wasn't possible to actually build a email feature on the summary. So you will have to take a print, like a save as PDF, and then just save, and then you can email it to yourself. That's quite possible to do it. So that's a new feature that we added. And then if you notice that we have click to view. So for an example, if you open, if you want to look at the opens, you click to view. And let's take a look at the summary here. So these are standard events: click, delivered, dropped, hard bounce. So we are segregating now hard bounce and soft bounce. So hard bounce, not clicked. So this is something that we added brand new. So you want to know who did not click your event. So the email, the links in the email, you will come to know now by looking at this not clicked and not opened. You can see the not clicked and not opened. Open process soft bounce is new again, and we have spam reports. And now this is very important that you know the unique clicks and unique opens. So we added this new, again, the unique clicks and unique opens. Previously, we just used to list out the summary, but now you can actually look at the numbers as well. So basically, now if you want to take a look at the opens, click to view, you do that. And that's going to list out all the number of opens. As you can see, this is the same email address, but we have 2 open events. What we've added here, you have an option here to export. So meaning you just click on that and it's going to export the results into CSV file, which you can actually just bring in and convert into Excel file if you wanted. You can actually email this report. All you need to do is just enter your email address, and you can add as many email addresses as possible, and then you just have to just send, and that's going to send an email with the report attached to it. The new feature that we added here is again add to campaign. So if you click this, if you ever wanted to send an email to those opens, you just have to come here and select a specific campaign and then save it. Or you can actually just bring in these contacts to a brand new campaign. You just say, whatever the name, and then just save it. So we automatically add all these contacts as campaign members to this campaign in the status new automatically. So that's kind of an advantage in the latest release that we are coming up with. So just get back to statistics, and then so back to statistics will take you back to the same object, and then now you can actually look at other values if you wanted to take a look at the unique opens. You just have to click on that, and it's going to bring in unique opens. It's not duplicate. So we go by the specific record, and not the email address, just to let you know. So every unique record is what we are bringing in here, assuming that you don't have duplicate emails here. So you can always suppress duplicate emails in MassMailer. Okay. So this is the new feature that's coming very soon. Should be out sometime this month. We don't have a specific date. We are currently finishing up our beta testing, so which means by next week, I think we will enroll the pilot customers into it, brand new customers into it, and then eventually release this to our existing customers as well. Okay. So you can see the pie chart that we have and the bar chart, which is similar, but we kind of beautified it a little bit. That way it looks a little better. Okay. So these are the statistics values that you can see on the outreach. And again, same values are also there on the campaign. Not sure if you have the fields in this particular, but as you know, you can always add the fields like the way you have the campaign statistics here. Similarly, you can add all the opens and clicks and everything onto this layout on the campaign. Seems like I forgot to add that in this particular instance for campaign. So we store those values on campaigns as well. But we have the advanced feature on the outreach. So try to leverage outreach object as much as possible. Okay. So that kind of covers pretty much what I wanted to cover today. So if you still have any questions, feel free to shoot an email to me or drop a note on our website. Here is my contact information, my office number, cell number, my email address, and the company domain. So anytime you have any questions, feel free to drop a note to us. And once again, thank you so much for joining the webinar today. This is a weekly webinar on Thursday at the same time. Always, the link is the same. So you would receive an email. If you are in our database, you would receive an email with a recording for this particular section, and also the upcoming session that we can announce shortly. I still haven't finalized what the topic is, but you would be knowing that very soon. By Monday or so, you will come to know what the new topic is. Or it's also listed on our website always. If you ever went to a website, the latest webinar, I'll just show it to you so the way you can sign up or take a look at what is our latest webinar. You just go to our website, and then there's a button on the top of our website. It's called Join Webinar. So even if you don't register, that's okay. So you just click on it and you'll come to know what is the upcoming topic. So always come here. This gets refreshed. So I'm going to do it today. So you will come to know what is the upcoming webinar topic if you go to this Join Webinar. So you can always come and join us. Or if you're in our database, you would always receive an email prior to the webinar in that week. Once again, thank you so much for joining the webinar today, and have a great day.